I'm going to move forward, and before we continue, I'd like to do an acknowledgement of traditional lands. Royal Roads University acknowledges that the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Esquimalt and Songhees ancestors and families. It is with gratitude that we now learn and work here, where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. So today's session is all about meeting the School of Communication and Culture. And I'm joined here with Dr. Zhenyi Li, and he is the School of Communication and Culture School Director. And my name is Imara Angus, and I'm an Education Advisor. So we can give a round of applause, everybody, to welcome Dr. Zhenyi Li. Wonderful, thank you. And today's agenda is a welcome and get to know one another. We're going to do a quick poll. And we're also going to talk about why study communication and culture, the overview of our undergraduate programs, the overview of our graduate degree and certificate programs, and a question and answer. But first, we're going to do a quick poll because we want to get to know who's in the room today and what type of programs within the School of Communication and Culture that you're interested in. So give me one moment. I'll be launching a poll. You will see it show up on your screen there. Okay, so the poll has showed up there, and the question of the poll is, which School of Communication and Culture programs are you interested in? And you can select more than one. So if you're interested in a few different ones, select more than one. So the options we have are the BA in Professional Communication, the MA in Professional Communication, the MA in Intercultural and International Communication, GC in Professional Communication Management, GC in Strategic Global Communication, and not sure yet. Awesome. I will give it about 5 more seconds, and you're welcome to select the options that best suit what you're interested in right now. And we'll cover all the programs today, but we just want to get a bit of a feel for who's in the room. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and I will end the polling here, and I'm going to share the results. Okay, so we can clearly see about 50% of the people in the room today are interested in the MA in Intercultural and International Communication. And then we have people all over the board with the MA in Professional Communications, BA in Professional Communications, and not sure yet. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in that. And now I am so pleased to welcome Dr. Zhenyi Li to continue this presentation.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Welcome to the School of Communication and Culture. This is our virtual open house, and I look forward to meeting you in our Commandant's House located next to the Rose Garden at Royal Roads University. It's very beautiful, and I look forward to the day we can host you in our real open house, face-to-face, in person. First of all, let me explain in 4 sentences about why our school is called the School of Communication and Culture, because we would like to emphasize that there's a very interesting dynamics between these 2 keywords, communication and culture. Basically, we believe that cultures differentiate us from them. And cultures cause many, many problems like prejudice, discrimination, racism, and culture is the way we bond with close-minded, same-minded people, and then it's the way we differentiate and distance and marginalize the others. And that's why we like to welcome you to study together with us on this very topic, what is culture? And the second sentence is related to communication. And in our view, we think communication is an interaction through different media that connects us with them. And it's a 2-way traffic, and it's a multidimensional, multi-directional, interactive networking strategy. And but it also causes a lot of problems that really depends what kind of communication technology, what kind of communication platform media, and who's in power, who has the authority, and who has more resources. And that's why we think that both cultures and communications causes problems. However, we also think there's a hope embedded in these two keywords, that both of them, they create and present solutions for the current situations in this world. And that's why we like to emphasize both of them. For example, during this pandemic, what kind of communication strategies we shall use, what kind of cultures we shall embrace. These are all very, very practical questions, seeking for practical, feasible solutions. And that is basically what our school is doing. We are very much in applied social science, and that's why we are one of the schools located in the Faculty of Social and Applied Sciences. And we also would like to welcome our students to join us to find the problems and to look for the solutions. And that's why the last sentence we will summarize what our school is doing is, it's all up to you to how to use culture and communication. And so let's move to the next slide. So as I emphasized, this is a very much an applied degree. And for the prospect students joining us in this open house today, if you would like to say, okay, what's the difference between applied and basic or theoretical pursuit in your academic degree, I would say the difference today is not so much, because all the studies I've seen in different universities are very much emphasizing the applied arm, but then really depends on the distribution of their emphasis. And in our school, I would say 90% is focusing on the applied degree, applied research, that we would like to encourage our students to focus on a real problem and look for a feasible solution right now and apply to the right people through the right channel for the right community. And we would like to see the changes in 2 years or even shorter. And that's how we define applied research in our school. And so feel free, to post your questions or comments in the chat box, and I will read together with our team and respond to you after this short presentation. And another feature of our programs is that we emphasize middle-sized classes that usually ranges between 20 to 40, and we group all the students in the same degree program in the same year intake as a cohort. And you probably have learned from other schools, more or less, we are doing the same at Roy Roads. And I think the beauty of a cohort-based learning is that we are not only learning from your instructors, but also learning from each other. And the class size also matters. Like, there's no lecture hall at Roy Roads until last year, but that one is reserved for special guests and convocation. Basically, our classroom size caps at 50 students per room, and there are even more smaller classrooms and smaller breakout rooms. And we really emphasize that the students are not only studying in the classroom, but also go out to the community. That's why we take our students to different communities and for different field studies. And currently, during the pandemic, we found there's an advantage. Actually, our students in different locations can just carry on their cell phone or their laptop and to take us to different communities through online meetings, so that we can also learn from each other through the internet about different challenges, different situations in those communities. And we really appreciate that opportunity, and we will continue that even after we return to campus. And another feature in our curriculum design is we emphasize team projects, and don't assume that the team projects is basically like, okay, 4 of you always have to do something together to obtain some grades in your assignments. That's not the case. And I will elaborate that further in a later slide when I share with you our communication challenge project. That it's basically we have many so-called clients, those organizations from large scale to very small scale, and they present their real communication problems to our school, and then we convert that to a challenge, so that students will form their teams to look for solutions and present that to the real client, to the real people, and to the real decision maker. And that's the team project. That a lot of fun, a lot of real learning, and also our students understand that you cannot do that individually, because the scale, the size of the project is really too big, and also the talents the project require is like no one can do that individually. And so a lot of fun in our team projects. And then career development, we start from day one. Instead of like near your graduation, we start to consult with you what is the career development. This is very much emphasized. And so we welcome our career office to the first day of our opening, already introduce that. And also many of our instructors, they are professionals from the field, and they introduce their career path to our students, also including myself. Like I always emphasize, like you invest your time and you invest a lot to your degree, and there must be a return. And we also have a Facebook group for all the current and the graduates, and they refer jobs and refer information to each other and develop together. And that Facebook group was very active and also keep growing. And it's a very nice career network, and we are very much proud of it. The international opportunities is another thing we emphasize, not limited or focusing on international students, although we very much welcome international students from every culture, from every country. And we are happy to see like over 50 different nations like send their students to our programs. But also we emphasize this is an opportunity for our Canadian domestic students, that for those who are familiar with Canada, that we are living in international communities almost every day, and nothing can be isolated, and nothing should be isolated. And that's why we take our students to international locations. We send our students to international internships, and we also welcome international development agencies, to send their communication challenges to our school. And so there's a lot of international collaboration, and many of our graduates continue that with that pace. and we're really proud of that. Let's turn to the next slide. I will start by introducing our undergraduate program first. That's the BA in Professional Communication. We call that BAPC. And it's a degree completion option for many of you who have completed your year 1, year 2 in college, and you are seeking for a degree completion in a very faster pace, 12 months, or in a normal pace, like 24 months. This is the BA degree program for you to consider. And we have the 12 faster speed track designed for those who can really dedicate all of your time in that 1 year, joining us on campus. And very excited to know that we are returning to campus very soon. So if you have 1 year full-time, you can dedicate to this, and you want to faster speed, and there's no break, literally, and you take all the courses in bundles, and you study together with energetic classmates, and that's the option. We call that BAPC on campus program. And if you think, okay, you like to keep your part-time or full-time job, and you like to keep a normal pace, and you will come to our campus to study for 2 weeks each year. The other time you like to continue to study with us online. So it's not an on-campus program, it's blended with residency and online components. Then the 24 months BAPC online program is suitable for you. So basically we have these two differentiations for you to consider. Let's move to the next slide. And the emphasis of the BAPC is actually we would like to equip you as quick, as efficient as possible, so that you, on one hand, you complete your academic preparation. On the other hand, you're very much focusing on obtaining more professional experiences, more practical skills, and also catching up with the cutting edge technology. We have video production courses before, and we now move to TikTok. And because there are more audience, and there are more short videos shared online. And what's the trick over there? Not only on the production part, but the design, and also the way to engage audience. And we have very successful short video competitions as well, and then you basically are looking for jobs after your graduation at entry level in major media corporates, and as well as in government. And that's basically what we are preparing you for. And let's move on to the next slide. There are two graduate programs I'm going to introduce you. And I noticed over 50% of the audience today are interested in the MAic, and we also have a lot people interested in the MAPC. So let's introduce them one after another. The MAic, I understand why so many of you are interested in, is that this is one of the only type in Canada. We have students from Newfoundland, that's 5,000 kilometers away from Victoria, apply to this degree. She told us that she cannot find any other similar programs in Canada, and she's not really interested in the intercultural programs in the United States, which could be much closer to her place, because we are the only Canadian edition of the intercultural and international communication, and our textbooks are not US oriented, and we focus on our Canadian issues, and as well as the international perspectives from Canadian side. And so if you like to join us, we have two options to complete, very much similar like the BA Oncampus and the BA Online. We have the MAiC Oncampus, that's 18 months, and that's also full-time on campus, very fast, quite time demanding, and face-to-face. You basically attend classes all the time on campus. Of course, after we return to campus this time, but you have also the blended option, which you will come to our first residency at the beginning of the program, and after that you take all the courses online. So there's only one residency. You need 2 weeks travel to Victoria to attend our blended model, and then you continue with all the courses online. And the current revision of this MAiC program made sure that the students that started with on-campus option, they also can switch to the online option, or the opposite direction. You start with online, you also can switch to the on-campus. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. And we will be happy to work with you to create your completion plan if in the middle of the way you like to switch cohorts. So it's interchangeable. And let's move on to the next slide. Like I introduced, this is a 36 credit program, and I emphasize the flexible structure. It's basically you start with us, and you find you have more time to study on campus. Yes, of course you can. Or you like to move to online. Yes, of course, also you can. And you complete 2 courses at a time. We call that a module. And then you are taking a full year-long graduate seminar or a learning project in year 1 or year 2 at the same time. And then because the intercultural perspective we take, we believe that it's 50-50, theoretical or practical pursuit. And so we really like to encourage our students to start from the beginning to balance all these. And so we have 1 theory course and 1 practical course bundled in each module. And so that, you're like walking by 2 feet instead of like jumping on one side and then jump to another side. And it's very much emphasized on experiential learning, as I introduced. The whole curriculum design in our school is very much so that we bring real problems and the real issues, and we welcome all the international and domestic students to study together and examine these. And you can complete your program in 2 ways. Either you do an intercultural learning project, which is more like an internship, or you can do a research paper, which is more academic pursuit. And so for those who are interested in PhDs, I would suggest research paper would be your option. For those who like to see that your graduate degree is sort of your terminal degree for the moment, then I would suggest you take the intercultural learning project option. Let's move on to the next slide. And for those who are interested in our professional communication, we have the MA degree program called MAPC. And there's only one track, that's the blended delivery, and which means in 2 years, you come to our campus for 2-week residency each year, and then you conduct your study online for the remainder of the month. And let's move on to the next slide. Like I introduced, we call the residency an intensive session, and then you move to distance 1, distance 2, and then you come back to our campus for another intensive, and then you finish with distance 3. Let's move on. And the courses and the tracks. So before this MAPC, those programs I introduced you, we don't have many electives. And if you are interested in building up your own study and you'd like to take more electives, MAPC will be suitable for you. And I listed the elective courses, the 6 elective courses on this slide. You can read them. And then if you take, if you write a thesis, and the thesis option is only available in MAPC, not the other degree programs. So if you like to write a thesis, then you take 1 elective below. If you like to write a research paper, which is a minor thesis, so that you have more space to take more electives. And in MAPC, you also can choose to complete your degree program, not writing research paper or thesis, but we call that course-based. You complete course by course, and then you obtain your degree after that. So these are the options available. And as you can see, MAPC has the most available options. And that's also one of the reasons many of our students choose this, this program. So let's move on. And the highlight of the MAPC is the Organizational Communication Challenge. And these are the real clients that they keep returning to our MAPC students and say, hey, here I have something for you to work on. And your team provide me a solution after, let's say, 10 weeks. And so it's a very, very fun and very interactive and a very practical experience. And so they have many different requests. They ask you to make a promotional material, a package, or they ask you to resolve a customer service problem, or they are rebranding. They ask you to work with their branding department and marketing strategies, social marketing, that's very hot. And so so these are just a list of the previous clients we have, and many of our students continue to work with them. And so let's move to the next slide. Okay, so some of you may wonder, okay, which one suits you better? If you are thinking of the MA degree programs. This is the way I will say, if you are thinking that in the future, your colleagues or your clients will mostly be domestic Canadian, then I would suggest you to choose MAPC. If you think your colleagues, like in your office, are very much international, your clients comes from everywhere, MAISC. And if you think that you prefer to work in a large scale organization, like CBC, for example, in Canada, or the United Nations, or these big organizations, MAPC is more suitable for you. For startups, for middle-sized organizations, which you find will be suitable for your personality, for your skills, then MAIC is suitable for you. And if you think that you prefer to work on the offline media, like newspaper, passive media, like TV, then MAPC will be suitable. If it's online, if it's interactive, then MAIC is more suitable. So, but of course, if you say my situation is not listed here, feel free to send email to me, to our recruitment team. Let's figure that out, because they are quite similar, but there are differences. And I like to quickly go through the graduate certificate programs. Basically, each graduate certificate program has 3 courses. And also, these 3 courses are identical in our MA degree programs. And that's why we call them laddering program, or the embedded graduate certificate program. And so for those who are interested in continuing, for example, with MAPC, I would suggest you start to take a graduate certificate program in professional communication management. And for those interested in MAIC, you take the strategic global communication graduate certificate. And if you find that after the graduate certificate, if you find that that's not suitable for you, then you can switch. Right, so that's why I emphasize like the flexibility. Like you take 9 credits from the graduate certificate, and then you decide your next step. So let's turn to the next slide. And so every GC in our school is transferable to MA degree, and not limited to our MAPC or MAIC, but also it can be applied in full toward MA in interdisciplinary studies. And you can ask more about that because it's located in the College of Interdisciplinary Studies, and our associates will be happy to guide you and provide you more information regarding to that. And that's usually when a student said, I'm not yet decided if I will take a full-scale MA, I would say start with a GC, and then you have many directions to go forward. Thank you. Let's go to the next slide. I just like to highlight some of our graduates, but you can find many of our alumni testimonies in our school webpage and also at Royal Road's website. So Stephanie started with us, and I actually brought her to conduct a field study overseas, and she continued with her PhD. And after that, she becomes an adjunct professor at Guelph University. And so this is an example on academic pursuit. Like some of you may wonder, okay, what kind of options, or should I, write a thesis? Or that Stephanie didn't write a thesis, but she was admitted to a PhD program. And so Nancy was also one of our excellent graduates, and she recently received the Order of Ontario because of her energetic contribution, very active contribution to the developing and underdeveloped countries through her organization. And then we have Matthew. And she, you can watch his video as well. And he graduated from a BAPC and become a communication officer. And this is so typical. This is like standard and predictable, like our BAPC graduate. But then Danielle, she's not very typical. She finished our MAPC last year, And then she said she liked to stay with Royal Roads. And we have the DSOCSI Doctor of Social Science degree program. And she enrolled there and she's doing very well. And the reason I said she's not so typical is she's a sport coach, and she likes to translate her experience and her insights to a social science research. And she also joined us to teach. And so this is like, well, on one hand, not standard. On the other hand, we were happily surprised and receiving her contribution to our school. Thank you. Let's move to our next slide. And this is like, we organize our programs as, group, the programs, and each program has a program head. One is taking care of MAiC on campus. I'm taking care of the MAiC online. Chase takes care of MAPC and BAPC on campus, and Gio takes care of the BAPC online. And we have program coordinators and program associates helping us to lead each program. Let's move to the next slide. And I pass the stage back to you, Emra, and I will start to read the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you, Zhenyi. And if everybody wants to use the round of applause emoji, thank you. That was so informative about the differences between all the different programs. Thank you for taking the time to go through that with us. So the next thing is, you want to apply and you're interested in learning more about the programs or what your individual situation is and which program is the best fit for you. This is where the application support comes in. Our enrollment advisors are available to answer your questions, support this process, and provide you with any additional information that you might need, including more in-depth details on the programs, an application walkthrough, more information about our standard and flexible admission requirements. We have done some sessions earlier this week on the admission requirements, so if you're interested in doing a deeper dive into that, transfer agreements, campus and student services, and connecting with faculty and alumni. That would be our enrollment services that you want to connect with for this. So this is their information. We have the top enrollment advisor information, learn.more@royalroads.ca, is if you're a domestic student, and the bottom information there, international admission and registration, learn.more.international@royalroads.ca. That is if you're an international student. And now we're going to jump into questions. I've been monitoring the chat here and we have a lot of great questions coming up. So we'll make sure to spend some time answering those. I did want to mention that today's session is recorded. So I know there's a lot of information, so we'll be sharing out the recording afterwards. And I'm going to jump into questions now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And let's start with the first question here. It is, I am from marketing and sales management background, and we all know that marketing and sales and communication go really well together. Very true, they do. So my question is, does the MAiC program suit my marketing management background? Because after the studies, I will be looking to get into a management job. I'm sure a lot of people in the room are wondering the same thing. Over to you, Zhenyi.
A quick answer is yes. And but then a lengthy answer is that it depends what kind of marketing you're talking about, and your client, your organization, your career path. If it's more domestic, MAPC also covers that. If it's more international or intercultural, intercultural doesn't mean have to be international, it's domestic intercultural, then MAiC will be suitable for you. And as I said, for each question, I give you a short answer, a sort of long answer, but if you need more answers, feel free to email us. Yes.
Great, thank you. And so these are some questions that came up when you were talking about teams and that applied learning and the team learning. So one of the questions was, for team projects, what is the average size of the team and are they typically assigned?
4 students in a team. That's a very standard way. And in some cases, we have to add the fifths because of the number, or the odd number. But then usually we will consider the student's preference and background to when we assign the students in the team. And in some courses, we allow students to self-organize their teams. And our principle is basically the students will work with each one in the cohort through the 2 years. So different teams, we will try to mix as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And another question we have is, can you speak a bit more about what on campus will look like? Will campus resume this fall, or what is our current situation looking like with COVID? And I do want to mention that we're monitoring the situation. We do have more information on our website about that specifically. Somebody can pop a link in the chat, but I'll pass it over to you, Zhenyi.
Sure. We don't really have many programs starting in this September. We have the MAic Oncampus starting in October. But then the other programs, they mostly start in the spring. And so in 2022, we definitely look forward to welcome you to your on-campus learning or to your residency learning on campus. For the MAic on campus, starting this September, we are discussing on the options and how we can best serve you, because they are international students and we don't know if they can travel and what's the quarantine requirement by that time. But basically we are returning to all the normal schedules next year, our school programs. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question is the MAic intended mostly for current professionals, or is it useful for students who would like to enter this field of work for the first time?
I give you a kind of in-house tip that when you see the on-campus programs, we usually have younger students, first-time starters. Like when you see the online cohort, and as well as the MAPC, because there's no on-campus online differentiation over there, then we have more mid-career professionals. So the average age is quite different from the on-campus cohort to the online cohort.
Okay. And the next question, we have a lot of questions, so I'm going to just kind of keep going through them and put you on the spot with all of them. So the next question is the blended option full-time study, or do many working professionals participate?
Both, or I shall say, all the programs we offer is full-time, and it qualifies as also full-time when you are applying for your study loan. But then the blended model is intended, it's designed for working professionals. So we understand you have family, you have your work, and you have your study. And you can survive because we have delivered the same model in the past 15 years, and we have many successful graduates, and we had weddings, we had new babies born during their study, and so it's manageable, although it's quite intensive. It is intensive, and I also would like to add here is the cohort-based learning helps. Because my wife attended her postgraduate study alone, and it's quite lonely and it's quite delayed. But then in our cohort-based, like the cohort classmates will encourage you, let's move on, let's work together. And so you actually are studying with a very friendly bunch, and they will encourage you. And so, but I also have to warn you, you have to steal some time from your family and work. Thank you.
So the next question is more about the school, and it sounds like more of the school's values. So how does the school define intercultural? Does this include different social cultures that can be areas of societal tension, such as politically conservative and politically liberal, or faith-based and secular worldviews, et cetera? So if you want to speak more to that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I think we embrace the most broad definition of culture, and interculture doesn't only limit it to skin color, race. I give you some examples like of our research projects. We researched on people with tattoo or without tattoo, and that's the intercultural communication. And we researched on couples choose not to have kids rather than couples cannot have kids, and we researched on Asian community, how many different communities within the same Asian community, and so it's not simply limited to what we usually see the big culture exhibited in museums. It's everyday's lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next question we have is, would it be possible to start the MAiC program in September and then switch on to the online delivery? If so, what would this look like with courses and time frame?
It is possible. It is possible because September we have an intake, and then March we have another intake, and as I said, it's exchangeable. The only thing is that you can imagine these are like two buses on different schedule, and if you get off the first bus, you wait for the next bus. Yes, it will arrive, but then the next bus will deliver the first two courses you already took, and so you have to join that bus, but then you have to still wait a little bit longer to continue to study with that. And then you, of course, can jump off again and wait for the next bus and check, okay, what are the courses you are doing? And so it's rotating, and it's very much similar like if you have the experience like the rotating sushi bar, right? And so you have to wait for your sushi, and it may come the identical sushi you already had, then you skip that and you wait for the next one. Yes.
Thank you. That was, I think, my favorite analogy, the bus and sushi. I don't think I'm ever going to think about that in any other way now. So thank you for that. Okay, and the next question, we have about 5 minutes left. So
Sure.
We're going to try and get through the last 4 or 5 questions here. Let me see here. The next question is, I recently discovered that the MAiC program removed the work experience requirement, and that's why I am eligible for the program, as I'm a freshly graduated student. However, do you think this program is suitable for a fresh student?
It is. It is. Like the reason we remove that wording, because how do you define work experience? And we remove that because we don't believe in the traditional work experience, because for example, one thing we emphasize a lot is computer gaming, and computer gaming is a way of communication. And if you are a good gamer and if you organize your team, it's also work experience, but then it's not the traditional way. And there are more modern ways of work experience that we will embrace. And that's why we think, okay, don't bother, don't put the word over there. Put that in your statement when you apply, and we will pay attention to those. Thank you.
Another question that we have is it possible to see some of the presentations from the challenge? Do we have those anywhere online?
It's not public because it serves for the private client, and but this is a good suggestion. I will ask if they can make some clips, right? Not the full package, because the full package is really big. Like it takes you a day to watch. But then this is a very good suggestion. I will see, if we can make some clips available. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good idea. Another question that we have is it possible to take a GC and MA program at the same time?
It's actually, you are taking it at the same time. You actually start, let's say if you are doing a GC, you actually start together with a MAPC or MAIIC cohort for the first 3 courses. And after, near the end of the third course, we will check with you. If you like to continue with us, then we convert you to the normal degree program. Or if you say, okay, 3 is enough for now, I will take a break, I will think, fine. And then later, if you like to join the full degree program, you tell us you already did the first 3 courses, and then you join the 4th course with the new cohort. Thank you.
And now we're coming up to our very last question, and I'm very happy with the timing because we have about 2 minutes left anyway. So the very last question is, what has been the employment rate for international students who have graduated from the MAiC program? What does the median salary? Oh, this is a detailed question, so we might not be able to give you the full answers, but we can give you a bit of of samples. So what does the median salary range look like for mid-career professionals?
Good.
I'll pass it over to you.
If you are asking about the employment rate for international students in Canada, it's about 50%. 50% of our international students stay after they graduate from our MAiC and continue to work in Canada for Canadian communities. And another 50, they returned to their home country. And so far as I understand, they all found jobs. So that's, and then for mid-career professionals, many of them, they continue with their current job, get promotion, or they change to another job. Yes. And salary, check with the result of our census.
Okay, thank you. And that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for answering all those questions and giving us such a great overview of all the programs in the School of Communication and Culture. We do have another session tomorrow at 10 till 10:45 in the morning, Pacific Central Time. And it's part of our virtual open house, and it's Communication in the Age of COVID. And it's going to be led by Dr. Gio Takash, who's the program head of the BABC program, and then Dr. Chasten Milliard, who is the MAPC and BAPC program head. So I hope you all join us tomorrow, and you're welcome to stick around here. We have another session starting in about 5 minutes. Thank you all for your time today.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.